Yosemite National Park in California is home to some of the most incredible waterfalls in the whole world. There's also amazing hikes around the forests, alpine lakes that are so still where you can just watch the world go by, the high Sierras with towering peaks all around, exhilarating wildlife encounters, and some of the most beautiful places in North America. These are the best hikes that you need to do when you visit Yosemite National Park this year. Hi guys, I'm Rob Hikes. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you all of the best hikes that you should be planning to hike on your visits to Yosemite National Park in 2025. I hike in Yosemite all the time, and every single hike that is featured in this guide has its individual video on this channel. So please remember to go back and check my Yosemite hikes playlist and also subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos of my hikes in Yosemite and other national parks around the country. So the first trail that I'm going to talk to you about today is the Mist Trail. So this trail is around 8 miles round trip and has around 1,000 feet of elevation gain, and it's one of the most crowded trails in the park. So you will start at the Happy Hours trailhead, which you can access on the shuttle bus, and you're going to ascend around the canyon until you get inside the area where the two waterfalls, Nevada and Vernal Falls, are. Now you're going to ascend, once you get to the first waterfall, up a very steep, slick step section. Now this part of the trail gets really, really busy because people are holding on and taking their time, and it gets very slippy with ice. And in the summer and the early summer, when the snow melt is coming off, it's super, super slippy. Along the way, you're going to encounter two incredible waterfalls, which are some of the best waterfalls within the park and indeed in California. You'll see wildflowers. Just bear in mind, if you do decide to hike this at the beginning of the snow melt, it's very, very fast running water, so do stay away from the water's edge. And if you hike in winter, there are sections of the trail that are closed, and in summer, it could be completely dry. To help you out, when you're hiking back down to Yosemite, instead of taking the Mist Trail, you can actually take the John Muir Trail. And that also has a really cool excursion, which will take you up to a place called Clark Point, which is a really cool place where you can see Subdome, and you can get a different vantage of the waterfalls there as well. I really like this hike, and whilst it's very, very busy, I recommend that you hike it early in the morning or late in the evening, because at the peak of midday, it is insane. And actually, it can be so busy sometimes that it can take some of the enjoyment away out of it as well. Next up, we have Upper Yosemite Falls. Now, there is the brink of the lower falls and the upper falls. It's a very long hike. It can be around 8 miles, just under, it's about 7.6 miles, and it's around 2,600 feet of elevation gain, so it's pretty steep. So you're going to start the trail from the valley, and then you're going to ascend, climbing up lots of switchbacks until you get to various viewpoints where you'll be able to look down into Yosemite Valley, as well as actually look at the waterfall and get up close to that waterfall itself. Once you get to the top, it's the best because you can actually peer over where the water is dropping down into the valley. There's a really sketchy bit of the hike there as well, where you can actually go out onto like a little ledge, but I think that's only for the bravest of brave. It can be super packed with snow at the very top in winter, but this trail, because it's on the north side of the valley, is accessible year round. I really do recommend that one. I really do recommend this one. I think it's one of the best workouts in the park. And it definitely is a very good trail at the Yosemite Valley, where you're going to still see the waterfalls, but it's crowded, but not like as crowded as the Mist Trail, because the Mist Trail seems to attract more like families and stuff, whereas this trail is a little bit more strenuous, so you're going to find that it's going to be more adults, which actually makes it a bit easier to hike because you don't have all the people with strollers and stuff like that in the way. Next up, we have the 4 Mile Trail. Now, whilst it's called the 4 Mile Trail, this trail is actually 4.7 miles, so closer to 5 miles to get up to the top. Now, you can hike from Yosemite Valley and hike up to Glacier Point on the 4 Mile Trail, or you can start at Glacier Point when the road is open, park up there and hike down into the valley. Either way, it's going to be 4.7 miles the opposite way. They do run a shuttle service during the summer where you can take the bus to get you back to your car. But I always like to do this as a really big hike. But it's 3,200 feet hiking out of Yosemite Valley. So it's a pretty intense hike for anybody, even like someone who hikes all the time like myself. I find it so grueling, but it's a great workout. There's exceptional views. You get to see the upper Yosemite Falls that I just did. You see that from the other side of the valley. You also get amazing views of Half Dome. You get views of the valley itself. Really cool point called Union Point as well, where you get a great vantage of the valley. So if you can't manage the whole hike, I definitely recommend you make it as far as there. It is crowded, but the trail itself going up is normally not too bad. I have encountered bears on this trail as well, which is super cool. And if you really want to, you can make this the most epic day hike, which I really recommend you do. And there's a video on this channel about this called the Yosemite Grand Loop. So you basically link it with the next trail I'm going to talk about, which is the Panorama Trail. Now the Panorama Trail is another long one. It's 8.5 miles one way, and it's 3,200 feet change of elevation. So obviously up or down. So what I do is I hike up to Glacier Point, and then I take the trail around to a place called Lambert Falls. So you get these amazing views of Half Dome from lots of different spots. You also see all the waterfalls from the Mist Trail on this trail as well as Lambert Falls. Then you come over this amazing bridge and then hike down the Mist Trail. Okay, next up we have Lambert Dome. So this is a really nice, easy hike. This is 2.8 miles round trip. It's 900 feet of elevation gain, and you can access this from Tuolumne Meadows on the Tioga Road when it's open in the summer. There's lots of wildlife up there. It's super quiet, not crowded at all, but it's a great way to bag a big dome with amazing views of Yosemite for very little effort, to be honest. I really like it up there, so you should definitely check that one out. Another quick one is May Lake and Mount Hoffman. So this is another one on Tioga Road. It's 2.5 miles round trip with about 900 feet of elevation gain. It's definitely not crowded. You've got this gorgeous alpine lake, and then you hike up to one of the highest points, well, it's the most central point in Yosemite, for amazing panorama views all around you. I definitely think you should check this one out if you have time. But just remember, Tioga Road is only going to be open during May till around October, but it does fluctuate depending on snowpack. So definitely check this one out. Okay, I have another one for you on Tioga Road. This one is Cathedral Lakes. So Cathedral Lakes is located off the Tuolumne Meadows trailhead. It's 800 feet of elevation gain, so it's not too bad. And it's just under 9 miles. You're going to hike through forest on a very gentle incline. Again, lots of wildlife up there. I saw loads of deer last time I was up there. And then you'll come to 2 incredible alpine lakes where you can just sit and watch the world go by. It's so peaceful up there. Again, it's not very busy. It's seasonal accessibility. But if you can make it up there, I definitely recommend it. It's so, so good. Okay, another one for you on Tioga Road. You can tell I'm giving you quite a lot up here, and the reason for that is this is not as crowded as Yosemite Valley, so you can have like the best time without all that intensity. Now this one is a longer trail. Again, it's about 8 miles round trip, but it's really flat. There's only about 300 feet of elevation gain, and you're going to hike through the forest where you're going to get all these cute little it just gives me ultimate Yosemite vibes. You're going to see the trees, you're going to smell that pine, there's lots of wildlife up there, and you can come to Indian Arch. So this is a really cool rock formation which has got kind of like a window, and you can peer through and see what's going on in the park around you. It's not too crowded. There's a very small parking lot, so it can be crowded, but you'll come to an amazing spot where you're going to see Half Dome, Clouds Rest, and be able to look down into Yosemite Valley. Now, I hiked this trail many times, but one time it was really early in the morning and I had a really close encounter with a black bear on the trail. It was one of the most amazing experiences. I absolutely loved it. But just be mindful when you're out and about that you are in the wilderness and there is wildlife up there. Okay, next up is the most epic hike in Yosemite, and this is the best hike. It's Clouds Rest. 14.5 miles, 1,800 feet of elevation change. It's a biggie, it's intense. But I really like it. So again, you're going to hike from Tioga Road. This time you're going to park near Tenaya Lake, and you're going to hike through forest pretty much. There's 2 very steep sections, but otherwise it's not too bad actually. You're going to see lots of wildflowers. It can be quite dry later in the season, so bear that in mind, and it can be very buggy at the start of the season. But it's quite quiet. You won't see too many people because it's a longer hike. Eventually you'll hike up the spine of Clouds Rest, where behind you have got the wide open Sierra, and then at the top you are going to have the most mesmerizing view of Yosemite National Park, but particularly the valley and Half Dome, which is really, really cool. Now in Yosemite Valley there is a loop trail which is about 14 miles round trip, where you can hike around the valley and see the spots from down below, and you'll also see loads of wildlife there as well. But my favourite short hike in the valley is Bridalveil Falls. So this hike is just 1.2 miles. It's so short and it's about 400 feet of elevation gain. It can be quite crowded because it's in the valley and because it's, again, accessible, it's paved, it's quite short, but it's great for families and it's great to go and check out a different waterfall in Yosemite. This place is also prone to wildlife. I actually hit a rattlesnake when I was there back in the fall, but do bear in mind that it can also dry up. So if you're going in September at the very end of the summer where it's been quite hot, there is a chance that the water will have dried up and you won't actually get a waterfall. But it is a really cool hike. I really like that it's a short hike within the valley where you can go if you haven't got much time, or if it's the day that you're leaving or you're arriving and you need to make it to your camp or your accommodation. And it definitely is a great one to just tick off from Yosemite. You can also view Bridalveil Falls from tunnel view, which is a great pull-in, which is just a little ways up the road, or if you're coming from Wawona, it's where you'll pass first. And I definitely recommend that you stop there and get a picture because it's absolutely gorgeous. From Bridalveil Falls, you can also look over across the valley, and there is actually a gap within the trees where you'd be able to spot Upper Yosemite Falls, provided, of course, that it is indeed running. Okay, and I have one more for you. This one is on the Glacier Point Road. So this is on the other side of the valley. Again, it's only accessible in the summer when the road is open. It's 1.2 miles and it's about 400 feet of elevation change, so it's not too bad. This hike is very exposed, so it's out in the open, so you haven't got much tree cover, but it's a great way to, again, bag another dome, just like Lambert Dome, another dome, unlike Half Dome, where you don't need a permit, you don't need loads of hours to do it. It's a very, very short hike, family friendly. Lots of wildflowers up there as well. The only thing I would say over Lambert Dome is it's a lot more crowded than Lambert Dome because it's more accessible, and also you do get better views because you'll be able to see Upper and Yosemite Falls, you'll be able to see El Capitan, you'll be able to look back across the Three Brothers towards the Central Valley, and on the other side you've got Half Dome and the High Sierra. It's exceptional, it's short, it's easy, it's a great spot if you want to just sit and have some lunch. I can only give you so many hikes in this video, but it's a massive national park and there is so much to do there. There's going to be loads of hikes I've not mentioned. The glaringly obvious one is Half Dome, and the reason I've not mentioned it is because you need a permit. It's very complicated and also it's very strenuous. It's not something that everybody's able to do, so I don't want to encourage people that maybe haven't got the skills or the experience or the ability to do it, to go and challenge themselves that harsh. But all of the hikes that I featured on here, I have done myself. And that's why I included a picture of myself before each title. It's not because I'm trying to like throw myself out there. I just wanted you guys to know that I have done these hikes and I'm speaking from experience. If you've got any questions or you want me to help you with some of the best hikes or for you to choose the hikes that are going to best suit you this summer, please feel free to comment below. I'm not a ranger or anything, but I'm more than happy to help people with planning their trips because I love Yosemite. I go all the time, and if I can help you have a great time, then that'll make me feel great. If you are a regular here, please do like the video and comment below because it obviously helps the channel grow. And if you are new, please hit subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. I've also just launched my brand new members package here on YouTube. And this is what I've called my Hiker Pen Pals. Because what I will do is not only will you get access to videos before anybody else, I'll also send you 8 postcards per year from national parks across the world, but predominantly in America, to your postal address, so you can feel like you're joining me on the journeys, and there'll be lots of other extras as well. So if you are interested, please click memberships as well. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rob Hikes, and I wish you happy trails in 2025.